Hello. Yeah, welcome back again. I just wanted to talk about why I use Ember. Um, I've been using Ember since pretty much before version 1.0, and I haven't really talked about it like in a blog post or anything like that. So I just want to get it out there real quick. Um, the biggest thing for me is that Ember really respects my priorities as a developer. Um, I don't want to be piecing little framework or little libraries together just to get something to work. I just want to start a project and just start implementing some of those things that really matter, like the business logic and the things that really help people. So the features that the client needs or that your product needs. So that's one of the biggest reasons that I use Ember because it really cares about that productivity and respects what I care about. Um, so it has all these um, little things that come out of the box that you don't think you need until you start building a big app. Um, Mainly, one of those things is routing, and I've seen many apps built without routing in mind. Um, and I know other frameworks don't come with routing out of the box, and I think that's a big mistake. With Ember, you have routing right from the beginning, and you start thinking your app is the idea of your app is already like centered on the URL. I think that's really important because you're just going to go back and re-architect your app once you realize that you need routes, and you pretty much always do. Somebody wants to share a link, they want to get back to something. That's all about routing. The other thing is that there's a lot of conventions, or zero config as it's become popular to say now, um, and so like those kind of add up to like this idea of that Ember cares about your time, it cares about uh, the things that are important to you, and that the community is involved working towards something bigger. It's very um, future-centered, but also for people that are still on older versions, Ember cares about them. It's not going to leave them behind. And so there are LTS releases, which is kind of like what Ubuntu has, um, basically a version that's supported for longer term, and we get security fixes, etc. Um, and then also um, the people that are building Ember are not in one company. There's many different companies that are involved, small companies and bigger companies, and the people that are on the core team and the steering committee and other small teams that make up Ember, they're all from different size companies. Some are freelancers, some are like 30, 40 people companies, and like that's great. It's really centered on people on different use cases, not just one company's. Um, and so you get a lot of input, you get a lot of transparency and clarity, especially with like the RFC process, um, as well as the Ember 2018 blog post initiative that was held earlier this year. And it's just Ember is this tight knit community. I know there, there's not that many Ember developers compared to React, but what you get is a lot more quality, and I really want to see Ember grow more. Um, it's really powerful, and if you haven't tried it yet, totally give it a try. Um, and just jump into like Discord, uh, just ask any questions you have. Uh, you can also ping me on there. My username is known as Ilya, and just ask any questions below here as well. And I hope that kind of gives you a view into um, why I use Ember, why it's important to me, and it's just one of those things that I really care about building things that matter, that help people. Um, I don't want to be bike shedding or figuring out what to name something or what library to bring in. And I mean that there's still a little bit of that, but especially if you're experimenting or you're on the bleeding edge, you can do that if you want to do that. But if you just want to be productive, you can right out of the box, and that's important to me. Well, I hope you get something from that, and if that's important to you, try Ember. Um, yeah, leave a comment or a like. Thanks for joining me.